Hey there YouTube world, Matt Schwartz here, the Welding Geek, and on this episode, I am making these right here. The Mandalorians boots. I'm actually just doing the cover over top of an existing boot. I will link the leather and the boots in the description. So if you want to see how I went about doing this, stay tuned to the video. Alright, the first thing I did here was mask off my whole entire boot and lay out in Sharpie where my cut lines are going to be. Then I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and cut out on these lines to create my templates for cutting out my leather and fabric. Now that I have my templates cut off the boot here, the templates are made out of tape, so I'm just going to stick these down onto a piece of cardstock or poster board and mark around the templates with a seam allowance of about 1/2 inch to have something to sew to or lap over on the boot to cover all the seams, how they need to be covered. And I'm just going to go through here, add a little length to the top of the boot because I want them to be a little taller, and just make my way and get my templates cut out here. Alright, I got all my templates cut out here. Now I'm going to get everything cut out of the leather and get sewing. Alright, so I'm not going to sew all the pieces of leather together, the whole entire boot. I'm going to do it in sections and put faux stitching in places where I want it to look stitched. But I'm actually going to stitch together the toe cap here and then get it glued onto the boot. Now that I have my toe cap stitched together, I'm going to use this barge cement and get the toe cap glued on nice and tidy. Instead of waiting forever for this stuff to tack up, I'm going to hit it just real quick with the hair dryer. Don't go too drastic if you're going to do this with the hair dryer. You still want it to let it dry a little bit on its own, but this just makes it go a little quicker. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to locate this toe cap where I think it should be. Get it pressed down nice and tight, and it's glued on. It looks pretty good. I'm also going to do a preliminary little Scotch-Brite on this toe cap just to see what it looks like here. Get it roughed up, beat up a little bit just to see what the actual color will be after I sand this down. Alright, next up here, I got the cloth sections of the boot. There's like what it seems to me is a gray cloth section of the inside of the boot. So I'm gonna get these gray sections hemmed up, and then I'm gonna stitch them to the leather. Alright, what I'm going to do here may seem a little odd. I figured out that if you put masking tape on the fuzzy side of the leather when you're trying to sew it, it slips through the sewing machine way smoother. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get off, but it makes my life a lot easier when it comes to sewing, so that's what I did there. Alright, I got my inside flaps sewn onto the leather. It's time to adhere this section to the boot. I'm going to hit this boot, the whole boot, with barge everywhere I want this leather piece to stick on, so I'll go ahead and do that. While I'm waiting on this barge to dry, I'm going to put on my faux stitches, and I'm just putting a stitch across the top side of this leather here. It's just made to look like this piece will be stitched to the toe cap. I'm not actually sewing anything together here. Alright, I'm going to soak this thing in barge, get it all glued up, and then bond the two pieces together. Alright, now that I have my piece bonded onto my boot here, I'm going to Scotch-Brite the whole thing to match to the toe cap. Alright, I'm going to do the final section of the boot here. A little thicker leather, a little different color. just trying to match the picture here. I have my little accent trim piece. I'm going to sew this together and then barge cement it onto the boot. Now that I have this trim piece made, I'm going to actually barge on just about a 3-inch section on the front to get it started, make sure it's sitting properly, and then I'll do the rest of it all the way through once I'm happy with how this is sitting on the boot. And just like that, it seems I got something here. Looking really good. I'm really happy with how these turned out. Now it's time to do some weathering. Now that I've got my boot all sanded down and weathered up, I'm going to hit it with some brown acrylic paint. I'm going to water it down. Do like the black washing, brown washing, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to do a layer of brown, and then I'm going to do a lighter kind of sand layer on top, give it some highlights, and that will do it for the boot build. here's the finished product. Really happy with how these came out. Hopefully they'll stick together for a little while. If not, I'll just barge anything that comes up and they should be good. Alright, that is the boots video. I hope all that made sense. This was fun to do. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I feel like they came out really well. So I hope you guys are able to achieve this also, hopefully with some help from my video. If you guys are enjoying my content, please subscribe, comment on the videos. If you got any questions, like them, do all that fun stuff. I only have a few more videos left on this Mandalorian build, and then I'm going to jump over and start doing something a little different, and then maybe jump back over and do like his blaster and the rifle and the jetpack. But I got wearable now. I actually trooped it for the first time this weekend, and it went awesome. I have a couple of things to fine-tune, but other than that, I'm really happy with the finished product, and I can't wait to show you guys the finished product. So yeah, my name is Matt Schwartz, and I'm the Welding Geek.